Welcome to Invercargill in New Zealand's deep south, home to Cycling Southland and the SBS Bank Tour of Southland. Now in its 64th year, the SBS Tour is one of the country's longest running sporting events and the most prestigious title in New Zealand cycling. The list of past winners is a who's who of New Zealand road racing, and it remains the toughest test of the Kiwi calendar. 102 riders, 17 teams, 7 days, 836 kilometres and only one winner. The sunshine and the big names were to the fore on a stunning day 3 of the SBS Bank Tour. The weather gods may have been smiling, but the Peloton wasn't after an aggressive day's racing from Reuben to Te Anau. The pace was on from the start, with the major break of the day featuring Paul Odlin, Alexander White, Dylan Kennett and Paul Wright, who crested the Blackmount Hill climb first. But the break was shut down between Manapori and Te Anau, with another sprint finish along the shores of Lake Te Anau, and it was no surprise to see the country's elite track cyclists to the fore in the final moments. Local favourite Corbin Strong earning his first Tour stage victory, edging his New Zealand teammates Campbell Stewart and Tom Sexton to the line. A first for Strong and a second day in yellow for Tour leader Aaron Gate, who takes a 6-second buffer into Wednesday's stage up the Remarkables access road in Queenstown.
Yeah, it's really fantastic. We had Corbin win the stage and get into the under-23 jersey. Everyone in the team did a really good job yesterday. Oddie was in the break and he just about followed every single move at the start. It was really amazing. And then we all put together the perfect lead out, and yeah, it's a great start to the day, and it gives us confidence to build on for later in the stage up the Remarkables.
The Remarkable Climbs is a solid grunt of a thing for sure. It's a steep old berg, and coming from a mountain biker background, that's what we like. Just want to stomp on the pedals and get up there and just give it the best shot.
Yeah, well, it's been shortened to 6Ks, but by all accounts it's going to be a very tough climb, with some 24% gradient sections in there, so we're just going to see what happens. We're all in the same boat, so we're going to find out today.
Yeah, could be some surprises out there, you never know, especially with no racing before. Young guy Reuben Thompson looking really well, impressed overseas, so always great to see the young guys come through. And then hopefully I'll see the likes of Aaron, myself and Luke to be up there.
The first 6 odd minutes is quite steep, and then we'll get some respite. There's a small flat section, and then that last 2K is where we'll really feel it. Pitches are around 23-24%, and I know it like the back of my hand. We've been riding on it since I was 13, 14, and for me personally, if I'm going to gain time, would be here. So I'll certainly try and make my bid for GC today.
I think everyone will be a little bit fresher than normal, so we'll probably see a few more people trying to have a crack at the climb. That's largely down to the wind and not having any big splits throughout the tour so far. So no one's had to do much work in terms of like chasing back groups or anything like that. So I think everyone will be looking to have a bit of a crack today.
Well, as we've heard from a number of those riders, they're all out to come out and play here today in the first ever stage to finish up the Remarkables.
That in itself, Gillian, will be a major motivation for a lot of these riders. You can see them all quite relaxed. The conditions this year on the SBS Tour have just been stunning, and that really does help with morale. You're not getting in the wet all the time, you're not cold, but the first rider up this Remarkables climb today is really going to have some bragging rights in this year's race.
Yes, a relatively short stage for these riders this year, just over 108 kilometres. But as a number of these riders have said, it's been pretty quiet for them over the last couple of days, just doing enough to turn the legs on over in preparation for what is considered to be the Queen stage.
And Aaron Gate, you can see here the tour leader up the front. He's obviously been here, done that before. He comes with a lot of experience. He'll be nervous. He'll be wondering if there's anyone in the pack that's going to take them by surprise. And these early breakaways are going to be vital in this stage. It's not a long stage, But if something gets away by quite a while, it could turn this tour on its head.
Well, there's a lot of young guys in here, Doug, that we know are very good climbers. They're built for it. This is their sort of terrain. So for some of these guys that have been around for a few years, they'll be very much aware of that, knowing the sort of conditions that are out there for them. They'll know it's ideal for climbing.
And of course, the introductory road into this year's Remarkables climb slightly different. There's Zeno again, the Tour Sprint Ace, Harcourt Sprint Ace jersey winner. He just goes for these points all the time. That is his method of operation in every stage. And this will be hurting back in the field, but Zeno is really on that chase. He loves that green jersey.
Yes, those two lead riders heading across towards Five Rivers before they'll turn left onto the State Highway. And it is the guys here in one of the leading teams, the Black Spoke Pro Cycling Academy team, along with Vinc's Transport Engineering Tallies team, that have been set the task to go on to the front, and a few of the PowerNet boys also hovering around.
Yeah, we do see a pattern emerge, and there is a lot more structure. It's interesting to see Michael Vink there. He is really relaxed, turning over a considerably lower gear than all of the other riders. He's a seasoned campaigner himself, a wise bike rider, and he'll be steeling himself for the latter part of the stage.
First off, the hill climbs of the day here for the Jesco Hydraulics King of the Mountains, and it is the Jollies Hill that's been a part of this tour for a number of the years, and it's a few of the Creation Signs boys getting towards the front. Vet for Farm, they're the men in the yellow jersey, and there we go, the Jesco Hydraulics King of the Mountains man himself making his way up towards the front.
But it's Fuller from the Black Max Nutrition team who's making the first move up this climb. He was one of the better climbers in last year's tour, and Paul Wright is right onto his back wheel, and this is going to be a battle royal coming up over this climb.
Yes, plenty of points available for these King of the Mountains here, and a man in the polka dot jersey keen always to try and secure himself further points and extend his lead, as he has a wee bit of a kick, and looks like Fuller, the legs have gone on him halfway up the hill here, and it is going to be the man from Wanaka that will secure himself maximum points.
The pace up this climb from Paul Wright has been superb. The conditions are perfect for this, and this climb is a bit of a power climb. It's actually a good springboard to try and affect a breakaway. There's not a lot of wind out there today, so they're really having to use the terrain to their advantage to try and split things up.
Yes, it's taken quite some time here before we start seeing the field break up, so this may be that opportunity for the likes of the man in the King of the Mountains jersey to do so, or is he just going to sit up, take the points, and ensure that he continues to extend that lead here in the Jesco Hydraulics King of the Mountains?
So Paul Wright crests the top of this climb. He's a spent force, shows you the kind of energy they're using. But once again, the Tallies Transport Engineering team with James Harvey, they are very much in this move already.
So here we have a little group now getting themselves established around towards Athol, heading across towards Garston, and it's the likes of Nolan, a man that's been here many times before, Doug, riding for the Circuit Asphalt team, a team that's one of about 9 new sponsors this year.
Yeah, it's once we've talked about all these new teams, and it's great to see new squads appearing, sometimes with more experienced riders, like you said, with Reuben Nolan in a leadership role within those teams. So it's just awesome to see these guys attacking the stage. But the pace in the bunch, here we are at the front of the race, the pace in the bunch has been pretty sedate to this stage.
Yes, they would have done the calculations, looked at who's just gone off the front, and they'll make decisions whether or not they are any sort of a serious threat. This is a traditional look to this particular stage here, where we get a little group go off of typically anywhere between 4 to half a dozen riders. As Nolan will put the jinx on him, Doug, he's disappeared out the back and back to the main peloton. But in here now, Williamson, of course, a former elite national road champion.
Yeah, very, very experienced man. There's Josh Page from the Rush Velo Ridley team from Auckland as well. These guys are making all the airtime they can. This is a long, long way to go yet. They've still got all of that road round the lake, so they'll be hoping like heck that everyone in the bunch is sitting up and they can get as much time as they can.
And here is the perfect image of the field here, just sitting up here, cruising along in the sunshine in Southland here. They've decided, no, we'll let those guys go. Will we see them pick up the pace around the Devil's Staircase? I would suggest that's exactly what we'll see, because we know the big hitters are waiting for the climb.
Jimmy Williamson still on the front. He'll be desperately trying to hold on to this lead. He's going to need a bit of time up his sleeve if he's going to hit the back of this climb. 2 minutes 25. The gap may be enough, maybe not, but these guys are really, really enjoying this ride around the lake. Unfortunately, you don't have a lot of time to look at the lake when you're in these breakaways. It's just head down, roll round, make sure you do your turn and you keep your hydration, nutrition going. But this is a stunning, stunning part of New Zealand and an amazing place to have a bike race.
Liam Capel, the man for the Copeland's Bakeries team, is leading them through here on the Devil's Staircase, and of course he's one of a number of riders in the under 23 section. Of course, that is a jersey that a lot of riders like to try and win, the pink jersey, and of course that is being worn at the moment by Corbin Strong of Southland.
Yeah, the Black Spoke team will be really trying to make sure things are contained. They've got their climbers in their squad, James Oram, Aaron Gate, and they'll be protecting them all the way through to the base of this climb to let them do their thing up the hill to see where the rest of the field is at in terms of the response. But things are starting to ramp up a bit here. Julian, the Peloton is starting to realise that this climb is not that far away.
No, the time has tumbled through the Devil's Staircase, going from about 2.5 minutes down to 37 seconds, and we just have the two leaders now entering onto the base of the Remarkables. The first time ever in this SBS Bank Tour of Southland. These two will be desperate to try and hold out a chasing peloton, but there are some big hitters waiting patiently back here.
This is what we've all been waiting for in this year's race to this stage, and the first time, like you say, at the Remarkables, there'll be some fresh legs in this group, there'll be some tired legs, there'll be a lot of unknown. Riding up this in training and doing reconnaissance before the race is one thing. Coming here with a few days racing in your legs in the heat of battle is a whole different story.
So James Williamson now heading solo as he leaves Capel behind. The chasing peloton, though, will be licking their lips. They know very much that they're in contention here to try and take the stage out. 6.5 kilometre climb, Doug. It's a big one for these riders.
It is a big climb, and you can see James Williamson here from the Creation Science Montague team. He's putting in a massive effort. He's still in the big chainring. Julian, back here at the front of this chasing group, you can see things are a wee bit more sedate. Dylan Kennett setting a nice pace here for the Transport Engineering team, trying to set up Michael Vink. Jimmy Williamson's out the front. He's giving it absolute beans still, and he'll be hoping that these guys were going to stay away for a lot longer. But Jimmy Williamson is getting swallowed up and will be caught very, very shortly.
It's a great example of team riding here as we see Kennett yesterday away solo trying to steal a stage. Today he's been put on the front there by his team leader Vink to set the pace, to stretch these guys out here. Corbin Strong further back there in the pink. Ollie Jones, of course, we spoke to him at the top of the show here, the Power Net rider, a very well performed rider and taking out the King of the Mountains in the past, so we know this man can climb as well.
Yeah, it's his selection time here really coming along, and Dylan Kennett is such a strong and powerful rider. They really rely on Dylan as a lieutenant in this Transport Engineering team. There is Michael Vink, of course, just rolling along out of his seat, dancing nicely on the pedals. No one's under any serious heat yet. Dylan Kennett, of course, was away all day yesterday. That looks like Dylan's job is done. Michael Vink's rolled over him, and number 14, the Ollie Jones rider, we saw him yesterday as well from PowerNet. He has just jumped over and is putting a wee bit more pace. Not quick enough for me, boys. I need to be going faster.
But you can see the reaction in the field as they stretch out even further as Jones just sets into a nice wee rhythm for himself. Vink more than happy to sit on the front, the defending champion. Let's not forget, this man has won the tour twice already. Can he get a third victory this year? We've got a few days still to find out, but this could be a stage that opens up some significant time gaps.
It's at this point too that we are really going to see who has been preparing the most for this race and has been doing a lot of this kind of work and training. They haven't had a lot of racing this year, these guys, because of the COVID situation. So a lot of this work they've been doing has been self-directed in training, and we are really going to see who has put the work in and who has not done enough.
So we see the PowerNet men out in front, but also at the very rear of the group there is the support coming out there for the likes of Mark Stewart there with the bagpipes, but it is still Vink there, and of course the man in the yellow jersey, we've just about forgotten about him. He's just been quietly, patiently waiting in the middle of the group there. Aaron Gate, along with two of his teammates, with Mudgeway just in behind him, who's a handy kind of climber, as is James Oram.
The nature of this climb, Julian, is very different to the Coronet climb. It's not so steep at the start. Things are rolling around with these switchbacks again, but it will take its toll. Don't you worry about that. As they go further and further up this climb, there is some seriously steep pinches. And as these boys try these wee accelerations on and off again, things are really going to start to hurt.
And we just saw at the rear of this group here, young Jack Drage. He's one of the youngest riders involved in this year's tour, under 19 national road champion here, so he knows how to go up these tough sort of climbs. He'll be looking forward to this particular day. He's got some serious company around him here as Vink winds in the man out in front, Ollie Jones, now to set himself up for the second half of this climb.
Yeah, Ollie Jones has really put the pace on, but Vink has responded in kind and is looking quite comfortable.
So 3K to go for these riders here, and it's Reuben Thompson, the local man here, number 31, riding for the Vet for Farm team, who's decided to dance on the pedals, go off the front. Is there going to be a reaction from the main peloton here, or what's remaining of it here, because it's starting to disintegrate further and further? But Thompson has a quick look over the shoulders and is starting to open a bit of a gap here.
Home turf here for Reuben Thompson. This lad has been riding up and down this climb since he was 14 years old. He will know every single pebble in the road, every nook and cranny, turn, twist, you name it, and he will have feathered his effort right up to this point. You can see him having a sneak peek over there, but this boy knows a lot about this Remarkables climb, more so than the others, and the damage he has just inflicted in that acceleration is very noticeable.
Serious damage indeed, as we saw James Oram, a former winner of the tour in 2013, dropping off the pace here. But it is Vink who continues to pound on the pedals here. He's not getting too nervous about what's going on here. He knows his job. He knows exactly what he needs to do to get himself towards the top here. He is trying to get rid of that man there in the yellow who is biting on the handlebars, the man Aaron Gate in the yellow jersey. Can he hold on to the pace that is being set here?
This is torturous for Aaron Gate, and he's doing a great job of foxing, staying out the back and out of the way to the front of the race here. Reuben Thompson has just cleared off. This boy is very, very talented, has done a lot of work. Would you believe has spent the last 2 weeks in quarantine? I would suggest he's done a lot of hard work on an ergo trainer. This boy is seriously carving up.
He's been licking his lips for this particular stage here for a number of days, as he said to me at the start of the stage here today, and it's been a couple of quiet days from here, just sitting nicely in the bunch as we see someone disappear out the back of the bunch there. Aaron Gate under a bit of pressure here. Every second counts. Remember, we came into the stage here with the top 10 riders split over just a mere 30 seconds. This man here's got a 6-second advantage over his own teammate Oram, who we know is already out the back. More importantly, these three in front of him now are starting to put some inroads to his lead.
You can really see this climber starting to get on top of these boys. You just have to look at the gears they're riding. They are in the lowest gear on their bikes. Corbin Strong is all over his machine. He is not looking composed. He is in big trouble. If this was a boxing match, he's well and truly on the ropes. But I have to say, all these boys are on the ropes because Reuben Thompson has just delivered a knockout blow.
Yes, I just don't think they've got the legs on them, Doug. They're just rolling together here, trying to keep some sort of composure. Meanwhile, look at the gap that continues to open up for Thompson. This guy is on fire here today, the former triathlete. He's ridden for the likes of the international teams, and that he's got a contract course over in France as well. This guy is the goods.
This man is destined for big things. This pivotal stage was always going to produce an incredible result. Reuben Thompson, probably a bit of a dark horse when you looked at the contenders at the start, but he has seriously inflicted some time here. Vink is looking over his shoulder. Corbin Strong's rolling his shoulders. Poor Ollie Jones is hanging on, wondering if he's going to stay in this grunt bunch, but Reuben Thompson has just cleared off, and the Vet for Farm boys, Mike Shepherd, Reuben Boniface, the manager, Brooke Armishaw, all the helpers, they will be just fizzing. This is a huge result for these boys, their third year at this race.
The bodies are aching for these guys here. Meanwhile, there'll be great excitement back in the team van for the Vet for Farm team. They're already holding on to the Harcourt Sprint Ace. Will they take a stage victory here today and potentially move themselves into the yellow jersey as well, as the local lad here continues to drive it up here? This is incredible. It's such a different look to this rider here compared to the three chasing.
Composure is everything. This man has really, really kept it together. He's obviously examined this climb like we were talking about as a kid. He's ridden up here a lot of times. He knows when to expend energy, when to get out of his seat, where to ride in the road round the switchbacks, and these boys, in contrast, are in big trouble.
Yes, they're desperately looking for every single gear possible to try and get as much out of their bodies as they continue to open a gap on the main gate that we haven't now seen for a few metres here on the roads up towards the Remarkables. But more importantly, Thompson continues to stretch things out here and try and place himself high up on the general classification as he goes past a lot of great crowd support here for the Queenstown man.
He's realised that he's got the yellow jersey in the bag. He will be really driving this climb and driving the last portion of this in order to maximise the amount of time he gets in yellow. He will realise what he's done, but in contrast, these boys are fighting for their positions, and they will be desperately trying to hang on and minimise the damage that Reuben Thompson from the Vet for Farm team has inflicted on them. You can't even see them at this stage. That is a dramatic effort.
In ideal conditions, the ideal result for Vet for Farm here as Thompson shuts it down to the last few metres towards the line. He'll drive it all the way here, Doug, to try and secure every single second that he possibly can here as he takes out a fantastic victory here in the SBS Bank Tour of Southland over the Remarkables.
What a fantastic result for Reuben Thompson. Here's the crumbs left. Ollie Jones has attacked Michael Vink. He's obviously said, hey, I've got enough legs. He sat on the back of these guys. Vink, to his credit, is fighting back. Corbin Strong is in all sorts of bother here. He is really having a tough day out on the bike. But Ollie Jones is going to take second in this stage, the Remarkables Hill stage. Vink is going to be third. How much damage has been done on the general classification, we'll have to find out.
This pace, this effort, this intensity that these riders have had to put out here today is going to take its toll on their bodies. Can they back it up again tomorrow? It's going to be exciting racing as we see these riders here, Doug. They have absolutely given it 110%.
Elite endurance athletes who have just given it their all, and this is the result. Incredible exhaustion, and you can't ask for any more from these boys.
And that's exactly how we could say it here for the man in the yellow jersey, Aaron Gate. What damage has it done to him today in his lead for this tour? New Zealand representative Aaron Gate tumbles to 6th position on the general classification as local man Reuben Thompson gets himself to the top of the leaders board, leading by a mere 23 seconds from Oram and Ollie Jones at 24. Matt Zenovich continues to have a stranglehold on the Harcourt sprint ace from Kirby and Fouché. Paul Wright, after picking up a few early points in the stage, continues to lead in the Jesco Hydraulics King of the Mountains. A stage victory and the Henderson Construction under 23 jersey to boot for Reuben Thompson of Queenstown. Glenn Hayden is the familiar figure in the Stonewood Homes silver jersey. The Share the Road Ambassador Award today given to William Green. The riders from Black Spoke Pro Cycling Academy had 3 of their men in the top 10 in the stage to ensure that they continue to lead in the Wensley's Cycles team classification over PowerNet and Vet for Farm.
Super special. Home climb, ridden this a million times as a kid, and super special.
Last kilometre.
Yeah, really wanted it and hit the climb in perfect position and kept reasonably calm, and then executed to my numbers and all the rest on the climb, and it worked out perfectly.
Follow the action from this historic race with live race updates, full results and pictures at www.tourofsouthland.com.